Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into sports videoing at the college level. My guest today is Lance Roman. He is the founder of Star Recruit Reels, and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Anthony. Thank you for having me, and looking forward to talking to you more in the future.
Sure. So, Lance, let's get into where you went to college. So where'd you go to school?
I went to school at Stevens College of Technology, and it was my college opportunity was only going to be possible through a sports scholarship. So it makes an interesting story of how I got here. I did play 3 different sports. I wrestled, played football, and I ran track. But mostly my sport was wrestling, and that's the sport that I actually, in high school, I was All-American in high school. And I went 3 seasons, I was undefeated. And in my senior year, I was on the United States All-Star team, which only picks 1 wrestler per weight class out of 12 weight classes nationally. There were 3 colleges that wanted to recruit me, and Stevens became my number 1 choice. And it was a good choice. However, very short college career ended with a knee injury that put me out for the season. And the doctor felt that there probably shouldn't continue to wrestle, but I told him I wasn't ready to give up. So I said, is there anything else I can do that may give me a chance to return? And so he said, well, you can't do anything impact with your knee. So he says, why don't you just try biking and cycling? So I spent the rest of that first year in college and all summer on a bike. And I spent a lot of time on a bike, and I was putting in a lot of miles. And I ended up one day passing a guy that had a really neat jersey and a helmet, and I turned around and I chased him down and to just see what his story was. And he was from the Netherlands. It turns out he was a 2-time racer and he competed in the Tour de France. So we became friends, and my training started turning into, hey, let's do a race. And I went with him to Europe. We did some races and had a lot of fun. And then I actually did some track racing in Truxfordtown, Pennsylvania, in the velodrome, and really got into that because the wrestling, I never did get cleared for the wrestling again because of the injury. But I did go on and had a small professional cycling career. Actually competed in the U.S. National Road Championships one year, which Eric Heiden happened to be in that race, which was pretty cool. But I still wanted to get involved with wrestling. I had started wrestling when I was like 3rd grade. So someone suggested officiating. So I took the PIAA officiating test and passed it. And then I started officiating. And because of my past wrestling career, I had a lot of unorthodox moves. So there was some intrigue from other teams. And besides officiating, I would make appearances at these wrestling camps that were popular, becoming more and more popular. And so I would go there and help teach wrestlers. That segued on to people asking me if I was interested in coaching. So then I got into coaching, and that was the next step. So I was officiating, coaching, and I still was able to do the sport even though I was done competing. So I think the next part of that was to segue after college to get to where I was today. My career actually followed creative and marketing, and I went into big city, New York City, worked for the big agencies, and I had positions there as an art director, and eventually moved through the ranks to become a creative director. And when I was a creative director, I had the opportunity to learn how to not only come up with ideas, but how to produce TV commercials. So I started working with TV crews and learning about editing, and eventually became a producer through that experience. And in the meantime, it was then that I started helping young athletes who were interested in getting college scholarships, but we were starting to use video to help them with their sports to see, here's what you're doing wrong. So the video background was helping them. This was even before recruiting films were real popular. So we started using video, and that was actually the turning point, because the next segue was I did a little research. And by doing that research, I quickly found that that the opportunity that was out there was better than anyone could have imagined. And not only that, everything that we tried to do, which was limited in networking to get to certain schools, was that a video was the most effective communication tool that you could possibly get as a high school athlete who was seeking an athletic scholarship. So the training videos started to turn into highlight videos. You know, one person asked, then two and three, and it became word of mouth. And I said, you know, I really got to get this organized because it was overwhelming. But I did the research, which you'll find really interesting. I didn't realize it was this huge. And you might want to write this part down because it's shocking. There are 23 NCAA sanctioned sports. And within those sports, there's 100 members per sport, involving over 400,000 student athlete scholarships and opportunities. Only 2% are actively recruited. 2% of that numbers, and 98% have to self-recruit. And the only way they can do that is by reaching out to the coaches. And they're extremely busy, these coaches. They have literally snippets of time to see if you would qualify. All that added up to $3.1 billion annually in Division I and II schools alone, which parents think, well, I don't know if I'm good enough, or athletes think they're not good enough. There are a lot of seats to be filled. And there's no way that they're going to find you unless you make an effort to show them a video of what you can do, your highlights. And this will dramatically increase your opportunity to get an athletic scholarship. And you may say, well, I don't know if I'm good enough either, but coaches look at raw potential. They're going to look at where you are, but they're also going to look at your raw talent, knowing as a coach that they can get you to the next level. So some people go, I'm not going to get a scholarship. I never thought I was going to get one. Actually, I was shocked when I got the offers, because there were wrestlers during my time that were way better than me, record multiple state champs and that. But I was surprised to find that there was a lot of opportunity. It will definitely get you the attention you need. So it's a very good investment, especially with the cost of going to school. Scholarships are nice, and the athletes who have worked extremely hard to get to the top of their game, that accomplishment could really pay off with a nice scholarship. So that's kind of where this whole thing started, where having myself played, competed at high levels, eventually officiating, and then segueing to people asking me to coach. This idea of creating videos, not like a commercial company just edits a bunch of stuff you do on your phone, but more like somebody that understands these sports, understands what these coaches want to see, how the play actually develops, not just the 3-point shot, but how did it come to that person getting open. So working with our recruiting team, we have the eye of what those coaches are and the mindset having played. So it truly is an advantage.
So do you find the videotapes, are they 2 minutes? Are they a whole game? Are they just highlights of different things? What exactly have you been finding as a good tape to send?
Well, here's what we did a lot of research after we discovered this opportunity and how important it was to help athletes get to where they want to go. What I did first, and what we did some research and said, what do coaches, how much do they need to see to know what they want? So I kind of looked around the competitive marketplace and what the coaches were looking at. And it's shocking to most people that what you can put into 60 seconds, it sounds like, oh, that's not a lot of time. You could get 25 plays in 60 seconds. So a coach really is not going to watch much more than 2 minutes, and he's already made his mind up what he sees within that, and that's quite a few plays. So what we did was we broke it down into different packages so that we have affordable packages, a couple $100 versus an extended one. But like I said, the coaches are only going to look at this for briefly, and it has to be edited properly, because if it's edited poorly, it's your one and only chance to make an impression. If they can't see the player, you don't freeze frame before the play, and follow the player, it's just a confusing thing, and it's next. So, our service really helps you through that project, and we we evaluate it, and work closely with the clients that come to our site to making sure that we're finding what they were. And if they don't have it, it's a process. Usually when they contact us, there's a couple months in between, because they can go out and they have plenty of time, usually if they contact us early enough, that they can get the shots that, that they really should have or should be thinking about. Some of them are just skills, not necessarily plays. So, and there's another interesting fact that I just came across about a week ago, and it says, according to the NCSA research, student athletes with a video on their online profile and an online profile are 12 times more likely to get viewed by coaches. So just sending a video of highlight plays, is it enough too? They want to see like your overall stats, and in one file, not, oh, here's a letter, here that, and there's pretty much a standard that the industry has formed. So what we did was we created, several types of packages that are really based on the number of plays and the amount of seconds that you can do in that play. So that is what our package is. We have a fourth option, which is a custom option. And that one is hard for us to even begin to quote, where the other ones are very specific. This is how many plays that you should work on getting. And those plays weren't determined by us. They're the coaches saying, look, if I see this many plays, and this doesn't matter how many seconds, it depends on the sport, that's sufficient. And I see their stats, and we collect that information for them. If somebody wants to have a custom one, we work with them, and we do a consultation with them to get some of the details, because we might even go on location, where these packages are more like people sending in footage that they have, and us kind of coaching them, saying, hey, you really need to stabilize the shot. Here's some advice. Turn your camera the other way, because it's very hard to format video vertically like you normally would do. So we help them in the process to get the footage that we need. But we do go, if someone asks us to go to a championship game, we will give them a quote, a reasonable, affordable quote to do that. But we first have to engage them and get the details before we know what's like something that would cost them.
Now, do you see kids that they want more than just the videotape, where they want their statistics? Do you develop a profile or a resume for them as well, or are you just focused on the videotaping itself?
Well, here's what we do, and this is what most of our customers have told us they like best about working with us at Star Reels. We have an online form where first you just simply register, and that just creates an account for you. Once you have an account, what you can do is you go into what's a athlete profile page, and it'll ask you a lot of questions about your record, any state titles. It'll also get all your academic stats. But for the sport that you're playing, it'll what position you played, any state titles, any special athletic honors. And it's a template that is served up and aesthetically is really nice. It shows the player, picture of the player, what year they're graduating, and all their accomplishments, not only in high school, but all their club accomplishments. So it takes a couple minutes to fill it out, and they attach a picture, and it generates a title slide that we will use in their video. And they can actually view it and go back and edit it if their record changes or things change and they win a title or something. They can go back and work on that while we're getting the video and putting it together. So you register, you create an athletic profile. Number 3, you select the package you want, then we collaborate on the approval of the video itself. And then we send you the video in several different formats.
And then you're contacting the schools for them, or are they just sending it out to any schools they want?
We don't contact the schools. We don't actually, our relationships are more with the coaches and the parents and the athletes themselves. We give them what is acceptable in the industry, not only the quality, the amount, and the stats that they want. And it's become standardized over time. So if you do like a homegrown kind of thing, it's probably not going to even be looked at. Any video will not necessarily get you the scholarship. There's no guarantee there. However, if it's not of a certain quality, they may not even look at it, which would be a shame, because what they're looking for is not what like even a parent would think they'd be looking for. They're looking for a lot of the technical skills in the game, how that person's playing and heads up, and watching some of that, even their skill sets and their agility and their times for 40-yard dash, 100-yard dash, stuff like that is important. And they want to see too their academic scores and grades too. So we collect all that information and put it into their profile, and they can create that profile, and then they save it, and then when the video is produced, it will be the title slide, and not only all the information about their accomplishments, it has their coaches' contact information on there. So the coaches look at that one piece, which we also put into as a hard copy. So they have that stat sheet, a one-pager that they can look at and get in touch with the coaches, the players, the parents, the athletes, and see all of their not only sports scores and statistics, but also their academic scores.
And how do parents and students find you? Is it just online, or is it word of mouth?
It started certainly as word of mouth, and it's been much more organic. We have a website that we took a lot of time to make sure that it worked for the people coming into it, rather than some of these websites are asking for way more detail. It's very difficult. So we tried very hard to make ours very user-friendly and more handheld, where once you contact us, someone's going to need to talk to you. Yes, we automated the collecting of information and the packages, but it's truly a consultation and because most people don't really know how to shoot the footage, and we can give them some really good advice, specifically that sport and what's important to a coach and what isn't. We, like I said, we do have a website. It's starsrecruitreels.com. I think we'll leave that information at the end of this. But they can go and find us and search us in the area. And that would probably be the best way to get in touch with us.
And now kids from overseas can also get in contact with you? Could it be anybody, or is it just people in the United States?
They certainly could. Never really thought about it that sure. Because like I said, we're not looking at, we don't have the relationships with the universities, but we can certainly put a recruiting reel together for anyone. That would be great. I mean, certainly. And it's not just, keep in mind, we do recruiting reels. However, there are people that just want a keepsake. Maybe your student athlete is just somebody you want, and you're very proud of him, and you want to capture his highlights that are somewhere on your phone to get lost someday. it's not an expensive a thing to create, and we just send us the raw footage and we'll put it together professionally, and you'll have this keepsake, regardless to whether you're trying to get into a college or not. So we have customers that do that too. And we actually, they're very, people are very appreciative and really enjoy them because we really clean them up, zoom in, correct the color, freeze frame, highlight them so that if there's two teams on a field and you can barely see your athlete, we make sure that these films are edited professionally, because the editing software these days is just absolutely amazing what you can do, even with low quality footage. However, if I could give someone a really good tip, if your student, child is showing a lot of potential and you think that they might be able to get a college scholarship, first of all, look up the research. It's shocking, the opportunity in a lot of different sports. But the idea is you should probably start, you can never have enough footage. So you should probably start early. The phone is good, but the problem is, even though the lenses are great, it's very hard to keep still, where they make these, I don't know if you remember these camcorders that are available. You can pick up what used to be an $800 camcorder. It has a 57 times zoom, which you can go all the way across the football field and get a close up. And it's got an image stabilizer. And I just looked it up this morning. You can buy, I wrote it down somewhere. You can buy a Canon HF 800. And I'll wrote this down for the end of the thing too, for about $200. I've actually found one this morning for $179. It's an $800 camcorder that weighs just a pound, 1 pound, zooms in, and it stabilizes too. So tripod would be better, but it won't like be rocking and rolling all over the place. And it shoots crazy good quality video. So you're talking $200, and then you get it edited professionally. It's a couple $100 to get a scholarship that's thousands of dollars. And then again, even if you shoot all this, you have that keepsake, because it's not going to be your phone is just really not going to cut it, and it probably wouldn't be acceptable, because we can do a lot with it, but if it's all over the place and annoying to watch it, there's not much we can do with that. So that would be a really good idea that I would highly recommend for $200, and then you can do a lot of stuff with it.
Yeah, fantastic. So we're coming to the end of our show, Lance, and usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents and the students out there that are watching? What advice do you want to give them?
Okay. Well, I think I said this before, but I'll say it again because it's very important. Coaches do not give out scholarships based on highlight videos, but they can decide not to if you don't have one, obviously. So for the cost of doing it, again, these are not expensive items compared to all the years that you've been playing sports and all the sacrifices and all the hard work that you have had to play sports. Again, great investment. Start early. You can never have enough video. Timing wise, you really got to wrap it up by the end of the junior year to get your stuff in. We can produce the video in a matter of weeks, but that's the window. So you might want to start in the beginning of high school. That's the advice I would give, is start now. Talk to somebody that will give you some really good tips, which we will take the time to help you with that process. I think that our advice is about coming from people that have played, people that have officiated and coached. So it's not just we're just not a production company. In closing, our mission is really this simple. We're doing this for one reason, to help families afford college, and for students to become, one of these star recruits, so that the athletes and the parents can make all that hard work pay off.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time. Bye.